Go. All right, here we go. Maya Zita, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How have you been?
Been doing all right. Thank you for coming by to the Lens of Yashu. And like dope, a lot of dope work by the way, from your various like Instagram posts and with your latest single, like a Ouija Board, it's pretty amazing within the vocal ranges and with everything as well.
Hey, I'm glad you like it. Appreciate that.
No doubt. And yeah, it's good to support like local Toronto talent too. So like either way. But usually like with like a lot of like local talent, they usually start off with somewhere, like in their like paths. So I just want to start off, in the beginning from before you became like Maya Zita. So you grew up
Yeah.
in Toronto, right?
Yes, Toronto, born and raised. I grew up for 14 years. I was in Leslieville, which is by the Distillery District, just a little bit east. It was a very nice neighborhood. And then I lived with my mom at the beaches, the Upper North beaches. We were renting there for a little bit, and now I'm up in like Flemingdon Park, H block, just hanging out here. Now we've got a mortgage, which is nice. So, they just treat you better when you have a mortgage. So, yeah.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. And like in those areas like Leslieville and like the beaches and like everywhere else, like even like Flemingdon Park, so like it was like a good experience like growing up either way. And even like with those areas, were they like big in music in terms of being like big like on the whole neighborhood scene? Like I know the beaches usually have like the jazz festivals, so but I don't know as a community if it's like big like around there, like music wise.
Yeah, there's a decent community in the beaches. Not so much in Leslieville, but the beaches has a really good like they have like the jazz fest and there's a lot of I did a there's this local choir there. It's called Beach Hill Choir now, I believe. And yeah, they're awesome. I think they're still doing their stuff and yeah, it's really like community friendly and yeah, no, it was a really good experience. A lot of people are connected up in the beaches there. And I know Flemingdon Park has some famous rappers, so
Yeah. I think like I know Cardinal Official, like he was like actually one of the biggest artists to come out of Flemington Park too.
hey.
And then I think also this other Toronto rapper named Roadrunner, like I think he's supposed to be from around there. I'm not too sure on that, but we'll have to
Interesting.
make sure. But like in terms of you in that sense, like what was your musical background in history like, like did you play like any instruments or anything like that, and what made you decide on wanting to become like a singer songwriter and musician?
I actually started out singing classical music. I When I was 7, I did this talent show, and I do you know Cirque du Soleil?
Yeah, they usually have those events like every other year, but
Yeah,
like not right now because of COVID. So
yeah. There's this one song that they did, and it's called Alegría. Alegría, como la alegría de amar. Anyways, so I was 7, but I learned I think it's English and then like Spanish and Italian or French and Italian, but I just put my backbone in and I learned it anyways because I just wanted to be better than everyone.
no.
And I slam dunk killed it. And they got other teachers to come and rewatch me perform it. And they told my parents, like, you have to get this girl in singing lessons. So ever since then, I did like classical music and theory. And I did like guitar lessons and piano lessons on the side, but more so for fun. Like, I wouldn't say like that's my, like my niche. Like, more so singing is my main thing. But yeah, I started off with classical music, and then I had an opera teacher for a couple of years. Her name's Alana Zarankin, and her parents are Ina and Boris Zarankin, and they're very, very well known in the classical music industry up here in Toronto. So yeah, this was really cool to have those connections. And yeah, so I did opera for a couple of years, and then I did in high school. I got more into like theater and jazz, and so I was like the jazz band singer one year in high school, and I did a musical. It's called Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. I was the narrator in that. It was really fun, all the dancing and stuff, and I did a pop solo in school too, which is like a gospel solo. So I after that I decided like let me go for what I really like because I had always practiced and sang most of my life classical music and opera, but I've been writing since 11, and I always wrote music about like, you know, like R&B pop kind of style, like the stuff that everyone listens to growing up, you know. And so I just decided, like, let me just go for this, because, you know, this is like, I can sing opera well, but it's probably something I'd want to pursue when I'm older, because, you know, it's kind of lonely when you're young and everyone else is like 35 and like doing it. It's like you just feel like out of place. And not even just that, but, you know, I wasn't like, no one's writing operas now, and I haven't ever had the idea to write one of those. So I'm gonna stick to my you know, my own style and just developing myself. And I've been recording for about 3 years now. I found some really, really wonderful people in like the Kensington market scene, Kensington Sound. There used to be a studio at underneath Kensington Sound called Fine Productions that my good friend Harrison owned, and we're still working together. And yeah, I've just become affiliated with all these different, you know, people in the music industry, and it's really cool.
No doubt, no doubt. And actually, you know, like speaking more like on the whole like high school part, I think you posted like one post from like a while back on Instagram where I think you were the main lead in like a school like quartet or something like
Yeah,
that.
that was the one I'm talking about. Yeah, it was so fun.
True, true. Yeah, and you know, just to speak more on like the whole like performing aspect, from seeing your social media posts, you seem to be more of a performer, you know, by performing either at shows in Toronto or, you know, posting your covers of various songs on like Instagram and other forms of social media. So tell me more about that progression in performing, and how was that experience like in diverging in that aspect of music in that sense?
I I love performing. It's just a way to really connect with an audience. And, you know, like, I've met some people performing and just going to open mics that, like, you know, I'm still friends with right now. Like, even Mira, like, I became friends with her through an open mic she did, and she killed it. And yeah, we just hung out, chilled, and, you know, smoked a bit, and ever since we've been little buddy. And yeah, I'm excited to see her music journey along with mine. And yeah, for me, the performance is like, you know, it's awesome to be able to interact with an audience and to act and move. I'm not a complete natural dancer, but, you know, I try. I got my class, I got my pizzazz, and I am confident in my movements, which is the most important thing. But yeah, for me, it's not just the performance, it's more so like the people you meet when you perform is the best.
No doubt, no doubt. And you know, I usually ask this like with everyone else like on the show. So what are your like musical like influences, or like, you know, usually with artists or like certain genres? And you know, like in the future, who would you like to like collaborate with someday in that sense?
My dream people to collab with would be Rihanna, or Daniel Caesar, or Leanne LaHavis, Jenny Aiko, like a lot of R&B people, in pop singers like Katy Perry, um, Gwen Stefani, like so many people. There's so many good people to collaborate with.
No, no doubt. And you know, usually, you know, with your creative process, do you have like a creative process when you're trying to make music, or like trying to make like a song in that sense?
If I'm purposeful about creating something, usually, all right, if I'm gonna get high, I'm gonna freestyle the song and see what happens, or I'll get drunk and freestyle the song and see what I figure out, and then I'll write along from that. If I'm going to do it sober, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to write it down word by word. Because for some reason, like when I'm in a sobriety state of mind, it's hard for me to express myself as easily. So I find if I like slow down and I figure out what I'm doing first, I'm more confident in it. Whereas like when you're lit, you're just kind of confident no matter what.
Yeah.
So like it's kind of fun that way, where I can experiment and just kind of say whatever comes out of my mind. And I've kind of worked on that, without weed or alcohol. And sometimes it's a hit or a miss, like I'll try it a couple times, and if it doesn't come, I'll just sit my ass down and write it out. And if not, sometimes it does happen, so.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. And do you usually have like a go-to strain like when you're smoking, or like, you know, like a go-to drink like when you're trying to prepare like on making music? Because some people they prefer smoking like either indica or sativa, and others they prefer like sipping like spirits or like certain liquors depending on that.
Yeah. I'm in general, I just like to have hybrids. I'm not really like I don't like to have too much of one or the other. So and any strain that's like pink or like blue gelato or like, like Girl Scout cookies. Green crack is pretty good. Um, Bubba Pink is good. I think that's what it's called. Pink Kush, anything with purple OG is crazy. That's like the alien ones. And as for drinking, I'm like a cider girl, or like I like Palm Bays. I like sweet things for like soft liquor. But if I'm gonna go hard, I'm gonna have like some Jack Daniels, or I'm gonna have like some Jameson or Malibu, like something with flavor. I like flavor.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. I'm more of like an Appleton like type guy. Like Appleton, like I'll drink like maybe like Hennessy. Like I usually like
Oh
socially
yeah,
drink. I'm not like into the whole like drinking all the time, but like socially like once in a while. So
no, that's good. That's good. I've
yeah.
I've had to change my habits because of school, so I feel that.
No doubt, no doubt. And I want to talk more about your song Ouija Board, because that's like where like I usually like founded like music on Spotify. So
That's sick.
speaking. Oh, you want to go or?
Oh, I wait. What was the question?
No, like speaking more about like Ouija Board, which is like the song that I founded from you like on Spotify. So tell me more about the creative process for the song and what inspired you to make that song in that sense.
Oh, okay, cool, cool. So I was jamming out with Harrison, as I mentioned before. I've known him since I was like a little baby, like 16, and so we were jamming out. I smoked a joint. He was jamming, and he started to do this really awesome guitar instrumental, and I started to just freestyle sing with it, and like half of Ouija Board just came out of me when I sang it with him. And so we were like, we have to record this. So immediately we got all the gear ready and we recorded it. And then we took it to another really good producer. His name is Ben Pelchet, and he helped us kind of like finish off the song, engineer it, do the mixing and the mastering, all that jazz. But yeah, like it was just it was very spontaneous, but the song did have a very deep meaning. It's pretty much about like the things that you like aren't always good for you. It may feel good right now, but it won't feel good later. Like just like drinking and smoking, like it feels good in the moment, but later on it's just gonna it's gonna be bad for you, but you're gonna be addicted to it. And that's just like toxic love, right? Like we're addicted to things that aren't good for us, and it's hard to get off of people who aren't good for us. So that's what the song is about, like just like having a partner or just seeing somebody who's like indecisive about what kind of relationship you're having, is just kind of messing with you, but like you always have such a fun time that you kind of disregard the entire bigger picture of the situation.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. And it's a pretty dope song by the way too. And speaking more on like Harrison, he produced, usually for like a lot of, unique Toronto artists. Like he worked with like Claremont the Second, Deja, SB, who else? I can't name the rest, but I just, usually know those two. But yeah, how was like working with Harrison like, and did he ever give you like any like advice or like any tips on how to be like as big or as like relevant like as ever like in the Toronto scene?
Oh my gosh, he's given me so much. It's advice that it's honestly hard to remember all of it. Like there's so much to it. He to summarize, he taught me how to be free and to express myself and not to be afraid to say what's on my mind. He also taught me to not take shit from anybody, no matter how big they make themselves seem, because most people in Toronto are absolute fobs and scammers. And honestly, not even just Toronto, but the whole music scene. A lot of people in the music scene aren't actually people who want to do music. They're just like people who want to make money or people who want to fuck over other people.
Yeah.
So I learned a lot from that. And as for like, he taught me a lot about like how do I record myself with a microphone? Where do I position it? When I'm doing a big note, step back. Like he was my first studio. Recording in his studio was my first experience recording in a studio, so I learned a lot there, and just how it goes when you work with an engineer or a producer, like what they're going to ask you to do, how long is it going to take, and like how long it actually takes to create a good piece of music. Like Ouija Board was a project that it could have been done in a year, but a year is still a long time. You know what I mean? Like, so
Yeah.
a lot of my songs I've written for like years ago, but when you take your time with something, you can really develop unique ideas that really just take the song to another level.
No doubt, no doubt. And speaking more on, like the whole like difference between like performing versus, performing like at a live audience versus like recording. And since this is like your first like official like music release as an artist, like I don't know if you had like any of the songs before Ouija Board, but like did you notice like a difference from recording music on your own at a studio versus, performing like toward like a live audience, like in a sense?
200 million%. You don't have to care as much about sounding good because like 50% of it is your body language as well at that point, right? Like when you're performing, it's not just how you sound, it's how you're connecting with people, and how your body language is, and like just how relaxed you are, how natural you are on the stage. you know it's hard to pretend that you're just kind of recording at the studio performing, but if you can do that and still interact with the audience and get that connection, like that's what makes an amazing performer, in my opinion. So that's more so what I find I struggled with when I first started performing for a while, was getting comfortable on stage. When I was like a young kid, I used to do recitals and I would shake on stage, but because I did so many of them over time, it didn't matter as much. And you kind of learn like what body movements are going to look awkward, what's going to look like fake, what's going to look weird,
No doubt,
all
no
that.
doubt. Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Like I think even right now too, what also like sucks right now. I think, usually with COVID-19, it has affected like everything in a sense, like no one can really like go to bars or restaurants or like
Yeah.
even perform at all in that sense too. And it might take like a whole entire function of what, smaller artists and more independent artists like usually do. So, even like with Ontario right now, the whole like shutdown thing and lockdown, and just like in the entirety, like in general, in that sense too, like since this whole crisis, did you had to like change certain ways to handle your business in a pandemic, and do you feel like it has like affected you in the way you tend to proceed with your business?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I could probably be performing, especially the promotion of music now, because a lot of promoting music is performing it out there. And because it's one thing to just interact with your fans and the general audience, but it's another thing to interact with people who are in the music industry, who are interested in music, and people who work in the music industry. And those are all the people that you're going to encounter in the performance industry. And so when you lose that, you lose a lot of those connections. So it's like I'm trying to find like other music apps that friends use, or just like like I'm lucky I'm in school right now, so I'm making a lot of connections through that, because otherwise I don't know how I would be making connections right now. It'd be really, really hard. And so I'm just trying to find as many connections as I can through the internet, online, my school, my peers, just talking to friends, being interactive. And yeah, you know, right now
Yeah.
I'm just on employment insurance. So I'm fortunate enough to have a lot of it and to be able to carry on with it. But I know a lot of other people, like, they can't do a lot right now because they don't have those funds available, because what if you just started working a job last year and now you only have like, I don't know, like 2K of VI? That's not going to last you, like, that's going to last you a couple months and then you're screwed. Like, yeah.
Yeah, no
So
doubt. Yeah. And I know like SERB, like it also has like a certain effect, with some people. Like I know some people might not be eligible for SERB if they have like EI or anything else like that.
yeah.
But yeah, but some people tend to do that too. I think thankfully for me, like I had something else going on too, like in which I like had like a stable job and like stable money like outside of this. So it's also pretty good, for that in that sense too. But for
Yeah.
others, it might be like a struggle, so yeah.
Yeah, that's why, like, you know, unless I become extremely, extremely, extremely famous, like during that time, like before I'm famous, I'm gonna have like some sort of job. So just to hold down, just to have that stability, that income, because the artist life is exciting, it's fun, but it's until you get big, it's gonna be unstable, you know? Until
Yeah.
you get big, it's gonna be unstable. And people are like, don't work a job, don't do this. And it's like you have to make money to live, to continue pushing the business. That's how it works. You know, you have to work and then make time after you work to practice, to do the business moves. You may lose some sleep right now, but you know, when you get big and you make your money, you'll get all the time to sleep, you know? Like
Yeah.
that's how I see it.
No doubt, no doubt. I definitely like agree with what you said too. And in terms of like other people, like other artists or other like musicians as well, do you feel like that they had to like change their way of business on how COVID was pretty much affected? Or do you notice a trend where they just don't like care at all in that sense too, and then they're just gonna splurge like with all that money regardless?
Some people I've noticed just have completely given up on everything and they're just kind of like hanging out, getting fried, whatever, you know, experimenting with drugs, you know. I'm not shitting on that. You know, live your best life, do what you want. But I'm not trying to just hang out this whole time because we don't know how long it's going to be like this, you know. I'm not just going to pretend I'm on a vacation anymore. Like I did that for the first couple months and it was really fun, but after a while I'm like, nope, I need to get back to the real world and I'm gonna have to make it happen somehow. And so a lot of artists I know who are like have the same mindset as me, they're selling merchandise, they're creating products, they're selling their music as trying to sell their music as NFTs, which recently became a thing. Like all these different sources of income, or they're trying to do online lessons, like all sorts of just different ways to run a business, you know, that benefits other people. So I'm probably personally, you know, EI is nice, but I still want to have more funds available for, you know, more business moves, because the more moves you can make, you know, the better you'll get. So I'm trying to make, I do like visual art, I do like splatter painting, abstract art. I have like one post of it on my Instagram somewhere. And I'm going to try, and once I have a collection that's big enough, I'm going to start selling that online. And, you know, just all the sorts of different ways to make money. Like,
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. And we've talked a little bit about the Toronto music scene, and you did like give your thoughts like about it, like for a bit. But like in general, how do you feel about it so far? And do you feel that it's at a right place of where it's at, or do you feel like there should be like some changes needed for that entire scene in general?
the general music scene is wonderful. People are very friendly. People are very connected with each other. People are all love. You know, like there's a lot of wonderful people in Toronto, especially in Kensington Market. Kensington Market is the heart of music in Toronto. It's like if you haven't been to Kensington Market, are you even an artist? You know what I mean? Like Kensington Market is like the place for like artists to be. One problem I find is in the rap community, there's too much beef, and it's more than just about making music. It's about, you know, making kill threats and stuff. You know, like when you play in the rap game, you're also playing with your life. Like it's a dangerous game to get into. You know what I'm saying? And it messes with other people. Like I have a videographer that I'm working with, and he was telling me, he's like, I'm tired of shooting these Toronto rappers because, you know, I'll try to work with other people and be like, nah, you can't fuck with him. He's an op. Like, you know, I can't fuck with you if you fuck with him. And it's like, well, whatever, then screw you. I'm gonna fuck with him anyways. Cause like I'm not about all this like stupid childish shit. So
Yeah.
that's I think that Toronto needs to learn that like, you know, like the gang stuff is cool and whatever, but like if you're trying to, at the end of the day, you're still trying to run a business. You need to put your feelings aside and put it in a box. You know, it's because it's like if you want to be playing with other people's lives over music because you think it's a competition, you're gonna catch a case and that's on you. You know, like if you want to get yourself into trouble, that's on you. And it's not fair to the people who are just trying to make music. You know, what if you're just a rapper who just wants to rap? And then it's like, oh, but you live in my neighborhood. There can't be two rappers from the same neighborhood. And it's like now you feel like your life is in danger. Like that's so terrible. Like I feel bad for Toronto rappers who just want to work, you know? And like all these like boonies who are just trying to like start shit go around, you know, like making everything chaotic and difficult for people to run a business. It's not fair.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. And I think I just want to add like my 2 cents into
Absolutely.
yeah, there's like another like issue that happens to be like in Toronto, not just like within the rap scene or in the music scene, but like in the art scene in general. Like it's pretty like hidden in a sense too, but like the whole like abuser predator predator type scene, like you have like cases where many people had to come forward saying that they were abused, or notice that a Toronto artist or a Toronto creative might be like a predator or an abuser, or a person who does like certain things too. Like it's pretty evident like anywhere, like if you find it on Twitter and back like in Instagram, where they had like the whole Toronto like abusers page and all that type of stuff too. How do you feel about that situation in that sense too? Like I don't know if you want to like share your thoughts on that, or if it's like a totally different thing that you might not know of or anything like that.
I mean, like, honestly, I'm a little surprised that there's that many like artists from Toronto who are that disgusting. But I will say I also have received the backhand of producers sexually harassing me, and I've even had like teachers sexually harass me online, like that I've had to report because the music industry is slimy like that, like, oh, I'll geek your track for free, but you have to sleep with me. It's like, I didn't ask you for the make the track for free. I don't want to sleep with you. I'll pay you. I don't care. But now you're too uncomfortable to work with that person because they're just trying to sleep with you. Where do you go from there? And now you have to make a whole new connection. You've just wasted your time. It's absolutely inconvenient. And the way that producers treat women is absolutely disgusting. And that's why I am going to school to become a producer as well. And I'm going to be, not to say I'm going to be completely biased, because I have some amazing producers who are guys that I completely trust. I love hanging out with them. I'm going to continue to work with them and branch out for people like that. I'm not just going to label all men as terrible, but I'm going to help out my sisters. I'm going to help out my sisters to make it through this industry, because only 2% of producers are women and 20% are artists, So it's like there needs to be a change.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. I actually spoke about this with this other person that I've interviewed, Raisa.
I love her. Oh my god.
Yeah, yeah. So she told me that she was going to school, like I think for sound engineering or record
Yeah,
producing.
she's at Recording Arts
Yeah,
Canada.
yeah. So yeah, no, it was like an interesting take, because we even like discussed about that whole idea, even with respecting the engineer, respecting like the producers too, because I think one major problem is that not a lot of producers or engineers are like respected, in that studio sense too, because when they when there's like certain demands for what artists want with their engineer or with the recording artist, or like the how they treat them, like it's also like another issue that you've noticed too, because sometimes an engineer might be treated badly even though they're not doing anything wrong, and then when they get on that nerve, they might do something that could mess up the song too. But there is like a general reason why, like that they were affected by that sense too. So yeah.
Is Yeah, I feel so bad for that. Like my producers, they're not just like my producers, they're not just my workers. Like, we're partners. They help me and I help them. And that's how it's supposed to be. Not even just that, we're also friends. Like, I like to talk about when I book studio time, I don't just like record and tell them what to do. I get to know the person. Where you from? Like, what's your story? Like, if they smoke weed, let's smoke a joint. Feel the vibes. I usually bring food with me because I'm Portuguese and we do that. We bring food everywhere.
No
And
doubt.
yeah, I'm just like, I don't want to just make work partners. I want to make friends too. It's like I want to make a real connection with somebody, and like I want to make people happy just like the way they make me happy. So it's like it's way more than just like having someone work for me when I hire a producer and engineer.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. So yeah, I think in general, I think that we can agree that Toronto should change in certain aspects, with the rap scene, like let's not be like let's not get into drama, and change the way that we treat people in that sense too, to not have predatory or abusive people like in the center of this culture, because everything has to be safe in that sense too. Everyone wants to win too. So I think like having a safe space for everyone, men, women, non-binary folk included, it could really make a thriving scene like in Toronto if we actually just get along in that sense too.
Yeah, I think it'll come in time, like even like Lil Nas X, like, that Call Me By Your Name video, like that's a huge breakthrough in the industry to be like, like look at this like male Black artist who, is like openly gay and is like expressing himself as feminine as well, and is so huge that like you can't deny his existence, like a lot of people in the rap community can be very homophobic. So it's nice to see that, like as the industry expands, that's going to change. And, like there's more like girls who are rappers who are gay and like all sorts of stuff, like it's nice to see. Or even like, Brockhampton.
Yeah.
I love them.
Yeah.
They're awesome. So yeah, it's nice to see everything is slowly changing over time, ignore the hate.
Yeah, no doubt. And no, they're dope too. I'd say like probably like my favorite artist out of Brockhampton, currently right now would be Don McLennan. I just kind of like his vibe too. There was like another person who I used to like from Brockhampton, but he actually left. No surprise.
Wow.
No surprise there. No, it was like a long time ago.
Okay.
Amir Van, who used to be in Brockhampton, I kind of liked his lyrics and stuff like that too, but he left for certain reasons. So he's definitely like not like in the group anymore. But like as of right now, I'm just saying that Dom would be like my favorite so far.
That's sick.
True.
I don't know their names, but yeah, I like them all. I won't lie.
No doubt. I think just to end off this interview, what are your plans for this year in terms of like any like music, other creative projects and so forth? And are there any like final words you would like to say for any creative or any person like pursuing their dreams?
Yeah, let's get into it. So I'm going to be releasing a song called How Dare You in the next 2 months, which I'm very excited for. I'm just finishing the development of the music video and the recording, which I'm going to be finishing this April. And then I'm also doing a collaboration. Her name is Zoe Stara. She's a wonderful artist. She's more into the electro techno scene. She's very, very good at it. And she's got like a really cool kind of like gothic cyborg look going on. That's what I love. So we're going to be doing a track soon that we're going to be coming out with. And then I have one more music video that's kind of like it's like a Latina dance song, and I'm getting all my homegirls to be in the music video. It's going to be fun. It's going to be called like Don't Know Me No More. And that's going to be one of my favorites, honestly. I'm really looking forward to doing that one in the summer. And yeah. As for a message for the people, I would say just like, be patient. Don't do it for the money. Just do it because you want to see it there and you want to, be in the music industry and just enjoy it, have a good experience. And foremost and finally, like, just don't care what other people say. I've had producers I've like sent recordings to be like, why do you hit the high notes like that? It's so annoying. Or you should use less vibrato. It's annoying. And I'm like, well, you just don't understand my style. Like, I'm a classically trained singer. I sing opera and I think it sounds good. Other people think it sounds good. Like someone's opinion is not a make or break. Don't take everyone's opinion with a grain of salt. And stick to what you like, because at the end of the day, being an artist is about being and doing the things you like. That's what's so great about it.
No doubt.